Stick around to the end of today's episode to see how Fitz Koehler focuses on the moment to get past the finish line. Welcome back, everybody, to today's episode of Clicks and Bricks. I am super excited about today's episode. We have Fitz Koehler from Fitzness here today with us, and she has written a new book with a whole lot of motivation, and her story is fantastic. But before we jump into that, if you would like to join my text line community, my number is 314-370-2871. It's right there on the bottom of the screen. Just text that number, anything you want. You can ask me any question about business or technology, and I will do my best to answer it at no charge. I'll never try to sell you anything on that phone number. I will only send you tips and tricks, and every now and then I will send you some crypto news. So let's jump right into today's show. How are you doing today, Fitz?
Spectacular, as usual.
Thank you for joining us today. Your story is so great. Can you tell us a little bit about, well, first, what's the name of the book that we're here today to talk about? That you're
All right, so we're talking about my noisy cancer comeback. It's running at the mouth while running for my life. And if you see the big microphone in my hand, that's because that's what I do. I make happy noise for a living. I boss people around. I announce massive running events. So I'm the voice of the Los Angeles Marathon, Big Sur Marathon, Buffalo, Wonder Woman series, you name it. Most weekends of the year, I bounce around from state to state, launching big marathons, 5Ks, and then welcoming those athletes home. I'm also a professional speaker, I do TV work and teach fitness. But yeah, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019, which wasn't a heck of a lot of fun. However, the way I managed breast cancer, I think, was fairly unique and, opposed to the mind.
Did you say 2019 you were diagnosed?
Correct.
So just 3 years ago?
I guess so. Two, 2.5. Yeah.
2.5 years ago? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just about a year out of chemo right now. But, back in the day, right now everyone hears a virus and they hide in their house and they duck for cover and they wear masks and spacesuits and so forth. I went through 15 months of chemo, 33 rounds of radiation, surgery. And it was like being dragged behind a horse. I was violently ill for a very long time and I was bald. And what I decided was that I wasn't going to be the victim. I was promised by my doctors they were going to cure me. So I decided, okay, let's go. And I committed to two things: not missing out on any special occasions with my kids, my teenagers. So if they had a game, a show, or whatever, I was going to be there. And then the other thing was I was not going to miss a day of work, not a minute of work. And so, bald and gray and sick, almost every weekend of that year and a half, I would get to the airport and I'd go elsewhere. And I got to be full-blown Fitz Koehler during those times. It was one of the greatest decisions I've ever made in my life. And I lived larger as a very sick, very immune compromised cancer patient than most healthy people live in a decade.
That's fantastic. So, and you went through this experience and you wrote the book. We could talk about the experience. Yeah. I think that's an entirely different show, right? Yep. On what you went through and how you overcame those hurdles, and fantastic. And then I have this conversation all the time with people about the opportunities that are available to us in this world today. And I've always, am saying that, what are you talking about? This world is littered with opportunities, right? You just got to go out and get them. If you have a cell phone today, you are living in the most opportunity place in the planet right now, or in our history, right? There's more opportunity to change your lifestyle today than there ever has been before. So can you tell us a little bit about, you're going through cancer in a pandemic, right? All of these things are happening. It has to feel like, it felt like end of days to a lot of people that weren't going through cancer. So it had to be amplified for someone like you. What is a tip or trick, or one tip or trick that you used during that time to say, hey, I'm going to make it? What gave you that, specifically, what gave you that faith to push through and not just try to survive, but actually do better than surviving?
Right. So the cancer and the COVID are very different things. And with cancer, I made the decision to pursue the things I love. And I knew that would be best for me, and not only best for my mental sanity and my health, but it would, I earned those slots on those stages. The work that I do is coveted. and I wasn't giving it up, so that was self-serving, but very interesting to me. The COVID shutdown wasn't scary at all. It was infuriating. I thought, you know what? I went out and I surrounded myself with tens of thousands of people with cancer, with it's hard to describe. Nobody would believe how sick I was, because you look at me now and you think, oh, she's healthy. But my life is better with people. My life is better with activities and outdoor athletics and all of those things. And the fact that they shut down America, the land of the free, and then they told people, instead of, hey, build a strong immune system with healthy food and exercise and quality sleep and stress management, they said, hide in your home and avoid people and don't go out and exercise. Avoid the beach, avoid the sunshine. So that part was actually infuriating. And so I choose to live fearlessly, and it very much confused me when a great majority of my fellow Americans hid under the covers. It's not who we are. It's not what we do. And so I choose life every day. I choose to get up and do my thing. And so I certainly don't appreciate a government lockdown, but who I am is the girl inside that book. I live fearlessly. I choose not to be a victim, and I choose health. I choose control of me whenever possible. And I try to impart that with my readers. So the message behind the book is, with no matter what's going on, whether it's cancer or MS or a divorce, you should maintain perspective. Somebody always has it worse. And for me, I just thought, well, I wasn't a kid with cancer, and it wasn't my kid with cancer. So I'm going to suck it up and be a good little soldier. I don't have as much to complain about as those other people. And then I pursued my passions hardcore. And the beauty of that is no matter how sick I was, if I spent the night sleeping on a hotel bathroom floor, when I got up and got on those stages, everything about me kind of washed away. And it was me and 25,000 of my closest friends. And I got to be full force Fitz Koehler again. So those passions matter, whether you like music or art or puppies. If you can't be out at the farm with your favorite cow, watch funny little animal videos on the internet. But surrounding yourself with your passions every day means a lot. And then also I chose to be positive, because I learned you get 0 extra points for having a pity party and being the saddest sap in the room. And was it scary? Yes. Was it stressful? Yes. Did I cry? 100%? But I also pulled myself up by the bootstraps, chose to be Fitz Koehler. And I rocked my career during cancer. In fact, I doubled my career during cancer, right, where if I would have taken the time off and just stayed in bed, nobody would have blamed me. But Fitzness would have died out a slow, painful death. But because I chose to go hardcore and serve kind of as a role model, this is what folks say. Right. And you look good in the bald head. When I showed up with the bald head, people said, what the heck is going on? She's so
I
happy.
love a bald woman. I absolutely.
Doesn't matter.
I live a little bit in the fighting community. I'm a little, boxing's my hobby, but that puts me also in the MMA world a little bit here and there. And those strong, independent women with shaved heads, there's just something about a woman that stands tall and strong, and she's different than the rest of the world. And I like that. I applaud it. I think it's fantastic. And thank you for doing that and being a role model. I've got a daughter, and she needs strong, positive role models. And she's going to go through hard times in her life, right? She needs to see women that are in times of challenge stand up and be strong and be proud of who they are, even when they're going through a hard time. So I think the world needs a lot of more women like you. What you did, it shows a lot of character and a lot of strength. And I thank you for that. And I don't know that you got a whole lot of thanks. You probably...
I have.
Oh, awesome.
And what's very interesting, and I'm sure you and your listeners or viewers see it all the time, is there's always someone on social media saying, pray for me, I've sprained my ankle. And all I think is, for the love of God, really, you're going to eat up all the prayers on your sprained ankle? And then the whole intention that you woke up today and you wanted everyone to feel bad for you. I was bullied into revealing that I had cancer because I was going to lose the 2-foot-long hair on my head. And when I showed up on those stages bald, people were going to ask questions. So I had to kind of go out of the closet with cancer, which I never would have done. But, you have to choose. It's not choose to be the best or choose to be the better than other people, but choose to be your best. Put your best foot forward every single time, especially when we're talking about the business community. Those first impressions are lasting impressions. So you have to be who makes you the best person, but you also have to put forth the effort so other people see the person they want to work with. Nobody wants to work with a sad sap or a miserable person. And yes, we're all compassionate, but I think when people look at me, they see joy, they see determination, they see compassion, they see pleasant and aggressive. And those are the things that people need out of my profession. So it works for me, but choose who you want to be and then be that person.
Right. And aggression can be a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Really can,
Heck yeah.
Right? So something that you're doing, and we have not got to spend a whole lot of time together. I got to read a little bit about your story, and I think you might have read a little bit about my story. But something that you're doing that I've noticed is you're doing a lot of self-talk. When you're talking about yourself, you're talking about yourself in the third person, and that self-talk. Can you tell us a little bit about why you do that and why that's important to talk about yourself when you're motivating yourself in that third person? Because I think that's an important tip to do, and I think it's lost so frequently because as a child you're told don't talk to yourself, but as an adult when you're going through that self-talk is a wildly important thing whenever you're going through these moments of chaos like you went through.
So yeah, that's very interesting you bring that up, and I am very pragmatic, and I can convince myself to be better, and I do that a lot, like you're do better Fitz type thing. But when I started treatment, there were so many scary things that continuously fell in my lap. It was multiple times a day, terrifying things. I'm afraid of needles. They probably poked me with needles a million places and a million times in all sorts of places, horrible places. And then I'm claustrophobic. And so the MRI was terrifying. And so I realized very early on in my cancer journey that I was going to have to do things that terrified me if I wanted to live. And so I started doing that thing where I would say, okay, you can do this. You've done many hard things. I used to compete as a kickboxer for 10 years. I've built a global business. I've raised 2 great kids. And so I would remind myself that I could do hard things. And I'm not a mantra person, but all of a sudden I kept saying, I can do hard things. I can do hard things. And so that's actually one of the things that I put to paper. One of my chapters is called I Can Do Hard Things. And so when people order my book at Fitzness.com, I autograph all the copies and I include the little sticker as a gift with purchase. And it's amazing how many people come back and say, oh my gosh, that really helped me during my marathon or during my divorce or at work. You know, I'm constantly pushing myself a little bit more because of the reminder.
That's fantastic advice. I like it a lot. I've just refound self-talk in the past couple of years. So, and it is empowering. It helps a lot. And I think it's something that we can talk about and we can give these tools out to the community that maybe they're embarrassed to do or things like that. But I think it should be embraced. And I've noticed all kinds of changes in my psychology since I've really started embracing self-talk again and posture stances and things like that.
Well, I think it's important to have high expectations of yourself. And so some people they're worried about what others think. I never worry about what others think of me. It just doesn't matter. I right. hope that my future employers are interested in me, but I don't ever worry about somebody thinks I'm funny or cute or did the right thing. I worry about me. And some people, you know, they look to a higher power that might be looking over their shoulder. I have to face this chick in the mirror, and she is brutal. She is absolutely a very brutal opponent. And so I have to work hard to keep Fitz Koehler happy. I've right. never been a self-talk person, but yeah, she's vicious, and my conscience is heavy if I step out of line. So I don't. And if I take the easy route or if I don't do my best, it's tough to sleep at night. So you got to go for it every day.
Fantastic. So I know we kind of gone off in the weeds here a little bit. Just to try to put us back on the track. Is there one tip or trick that you have? I know we've already talked about a couple of them with self-talk and stuff like that you would like to talk to the audience about on how you overcome adversity. Like, what is one of the things that you do? And I know you showed your sticker and your mantras and stuff like that, but is there like something special that you would say, if you're going through a hard time, this is really like the key that helped me that push through this challenging time?
Well, I think I've talked about those mental things, but as a fitness expert, what I want people to do is take their health seriously, because, you know, when some doctor comes at you with a scary diagnosis of any sort, at that point, nothing in the world matters but your health. And so prepare your body to do battle today. because you never know when illness or injury will strike. And so if you think, oh, it's okay, it's all about looking good in a swimsuit, it's not. You need to be strong and you need to be resilient. You need to be flexible so you don't sprain, strain, or tear muscles. You need to work on cardio exercise because your heart and your lungs matter. And your heart and your lungs matter even when you have diabetes or you have a broken leg, things, when you lose that respiratory fitness, every step you take becomes a lot more challenging. And so prepare your body to do battle today. And I can tell you that even though my cancer experience was a bit of a nightmare, I saved myself from so many worse fates because I was healthy going into treatment. And my doctor said, listen, you've had a rough road, but it would have been way worse had you not been so healthy coming in. And so right now, today, you can go to Fitzness. I've got all free resources. I don't want any money from individual corporations, pay my salary for speaking and so forth. So come get the free resources and then get to work. No excuses. Your health matters every day, and it starts now.
Absolutely. So we're talking a lot about health and fitness and stuff like that. And, I normally don't go into these topics, but I think you're a great candidate for it. And we talked a little bit about, I have a daughter at home as well. Okay. She's 14. She's going through a lot of things in her life. And she's also, she's training to be a competitive fighter as well. So can you tell the audience a little bit about the difference between what healthy is and what body image is, right? And the difference between those two, because you touched on a little bit, but how important it is to have a healthy mindset and not think about that bikini, not think about those things, but really like your muscle mass, your body tone, all those things, the health side of it, not the look side of it. Do you think that's an important message to be handing out to the ladies and the women that are going to be running our world tomorrow?
And the gentlemen, because we have just as many guys with eating disorders. And when it comes to
right
health,
there, you've got one for sure.
Okay, health and body image, we have world-class, our Olympic champions. We have many of them seeking psychiatric help for eating disorders, and they've got some of the most athletic, beautiful bodies on planet Earth. But their perceived value of themselves is on what they look like, what they think they should look like. That's not health. That again is putting your personal value based on aesthetics on somebody else's opinion. And so it's nice to look nice, but I think there's a lot of people in a lot of shapes and sizes that look really, really nice. And so, variety is a spice of life. And I tell you, I'm a very lean, long person. There's a lot of guys who are like, no, thank you. That's not my jam. I want a woman who's curvy and vice versa. Some dudes with the big, giant muscles, there's many women going, no, thank you. So you can't please everybody, nor should you try. That's the mental part of it. And, if you're stuck in that rut, what I'm hoping you'll do is, make a list of all the wonderful things you have to offer. I was a bulimic in high school and my freshman year of college. And it was finally after I actually throwing up in a garbage can in my dorm room, which was just gross and awful. And I thought about a good friend of mine and whether I would like her more if she was thinner, and I wouldn't have. Would I like her less if she were bigger? And the answer is no way. And so I decided, hey, I was a really good person and I was good at school and I was a great fitness instructor and I was a very generous friend. And so I was more than my thighs and I wasn't going to beat myself up. And it's interesting. I live in Florida. We go to the beach and it breaks my heart to think that anyone would deny themselves of the ocean and a sunny, breezy day because they're insecure about the way they look. And so those mental arguments need to be had, and you need to win those arguments because you are a valuable person no matter what your shape and size. Now, on the health side, it's undeniable that is important to 100% of humankind. You need to focus, and you don't need to be a marathon runner, and you don't have to ever run anything, but you do have to do something. So you got to watch what you put in your mouth. Exact formula for weight loss right here. If weight is an issue, if not, fine, just keep eating healthy. 4 pillars of fitness: strength, flexibility, cardio endurance, and balance. And I asked, those are the requirements for fitness. And so if you're a marathon runner who can't do 5 push-ups, are you fit? No.
Right. You're a
good
runner.
But you're not fit. You don't even qualify as fit, even if you do a marathon. If you are the yoga girl and you could put both toes over your head, but you can't climb up a flight of stairs without being winded, are you fit? the answer is no. And so fitness doesn't have to be complicated. There are no pills, powders, shakes, supplements, diets, it's all snake oil, no wraps, none of that. If your friend is selling it out of their trunk, it's a lie. If a product has the word diet on it, it's a lie. You should eat real food, watch the amount you put in. And again, go here and I'll teach you how for free. And then you have to exercise your body in those 4 ways. You need to get sleep. Quality sleep matters. If you can't get it all at night, schedule in a nap. And then the last element is remove the cranky people from your life, because you should not be in a house or a neighborhood with people that are being toxic to you. And so, yeah, you've got to prioritize your health. And I tell you what, if you do that and you have kids, they will look at you and they will do what you've done. And if you do the opposite, if you sit around and eat garbage and you smoke and you drink, they will do what you've done. So hold yourself to a higher standard. You deserve better.
So, and I don't normally dive into these things like
Let's dive.
The mindset, but you said something really interesting. It is really hard to do a lot of times. You remove the cranky people or the negative people from your life, and this is something. I think this is wildly important, right? Because if you start studying the laws of attraction, things like that, you get what you put out, and if you're around negative people, then their energy kind of seeps into you and you end up being negative around them. Yeah. But and it sounds like you have some experience here. So can you tell us what if you love that cranky person or that negative person? What do you do in that case scenario? How do you get rid of that cranky person in your life that you love? Say it's a mother or a father. Do you invest in changing them, or do you just reduce the amount of time you spend with them?
The latter. Yeah, you reduce the amount of time because you cannot change other grown-ups. So don't even try. It's interesting. My cranky person, my really mean, toxic, horrible person was my big sister, 6 years older as a child. She was poisonous. I would walk through the house and multiple times a day, she would say, "You're fat and you suck at soccer." And I was neither, but she was just horrible. And so it's one thing that I accepted it when I was a kid. She was my big sister. I wanted to be friends. She was never going to be my friend. But then as we grew older and I lived 5 hours away, I would go down to visit South Florida where my family is. And she would start in. And there was screaming and the cursing and the door slamming and the storming out. And, it made me feel bad. I would lose weight via stress going to visit my family. And then finally I had the revelation. I think I was about 30. I had 2 kids and I thought, you know what? I'm a grown-up, first of all. No, it's not acceptable for anybody to talk to me that way, nonetheless a family member. And I have children. And if they see me allow somebody else to abuse me, they're going to tolerate the same garbage. And so
I don't think it's okay.
It's not okay. That's right. So it helps to be independent. Every single person in my life is there by choice. I have a mother now. She's not a mommy. I love my mom and we spend time because we choose each other. My sister, I don't have any interaction with her. She reached out once when I had breast cancer and I was like, hey, thanks. And then never again. I wish her well, but she doesn't have space in my life, in my home. And I do not give her the opportunity. If it was my mom, if it were my dad, if it were my grandma, if there were anybody else treating me like garbage, I would remove them. And so you've got to prioritize yourself. How in God's earth people think this is okay? This is something that should be tolerated. I don't have any respect for the bloodline. I have family members that are blood that I love, but I choose my family. I choose the people that respect me and I respect, and we appreciate each other and take good care of each other, and everybody else can go pound sand.
Right. So, and I know we went way off on a fitness and well-being topic, but why is this important for business? The two things are so well in line, right? You're going to have toxic employees, you're going to have toxic bosses, you're going to have toxic environments in your life. You're going to run into these things in your life and in business, and I can promise you, and I know from experience, and Fitz said it so gratefully, you can't change a grown-up. If you have a toxic person in your business or in your life at all, and sometimes you just can't get rid of a toxic person just by the snapping your fingers sometimes. You have to go through a process of understanding what their toxic behavior is and why are you going to cut this person out of your life. But it is so important to get that out and just not deal with it at all. Cut that out and move on with life. And it is a wildly important tool to have in your toolbox. And it's hard to do. It's so hard to just say, you know what, this person is not servicing my future. So, and it's not that I don't like them or don't want to be around them. I love them, but I just can't have that negativity in my life and reach my goals. And that's a hard thing to understand, but it's something we have to get to if we want to move to the next level, that the people that are pulling us down today are not going to be the people that help lift us up tomorrow.
Yeah, my trainer gave me one of those golden boulders, not nuggets. He said, always associate up. And I really felt that resonated with me. And so I seek out people that I think are equal or better than me. I love being surrounded by people that I admire, that I can learn from, people that are funnier than me, any of those things. And then when there's that person that's just constantly miserable and sucking your energy, or they're undermining you, you know, what I never have the ill will. What I say is, you know, we're going to agree to disagree. I think we should part ways. I wish you well. Lots of success in the future. This is not a good match. And so I'm unwilling to get into a shouting match, into a cursing match, into any of those ugly things. Just, you know, there's so many wonderful people in the world. Clearly, I'm not your wonderful person. We're not connecting. So go find somebody else who's a great choice for you.
Okay.
Bon voyage, you know.
It's okay. There's lots of people on the planet that we can play with, right?
Absolutely.
That
It doesn't have to be me.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
no offense.
fantastic. So we've talked a lot about adversity and how you overcome those kinds of things. And in business, so frequently you find yourself in these positions when you're going through adversity that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And when you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, sometimes it feels like you're stuck in that spot forever. And I really believe it's because you're fixated at the light at the end of the tunnel. You're not fixated on being at the end of the tunnel. So if you're constantly fixated at, oh, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, I'm almost there, that's where you're going to stay, right? So until you can imagine yourself out of the tunnel and in the light, you're never going to get there. So, and that's the difference between striving and thriving. So whenever you can see the end of the tunnel, do you have any tips or tricks to really bust through and get out of that tunnel and be in the light? And how do you thrive in today's world? Instead of just, because I feel like so many business owners that I know and talk to, they're stuck at seeing the light. They can see it, but they don't know how to get past it. So do you have a tip or trick to help, you know, bust through that glass ceiling and really push it and fuel that fire and move forward?
I do. So 2 weeks ago, I ran the Boston Marathon, and I can tell you that people expect that I've done many. I've never done a full before, plenty of halves. And so I sought out advice from people in one of my running groups, and a man named Mark Allen, who is a 6-time Ironman world champion. ESPN has dubbed this man the greatest endurance athlete of all time, and he's just a sweetheart too. And so Mark says, Fitz, my advice for you is once you get to Boylston Street in Boston, that's the finish line, famed finish line. It's 0.35 miles long. He said, once you get to Boylston Street, don't keep your eyes on the finish line, because it's like a demented hallway. And the more you focus on it, the further away the finish line seems. He said, instead, look at all the spectators, all the fans surrounding that finish line chute, and you'll be there before you know it. And I took Mark's advice. So I turned on the street, I saw the finish line. It was, whoa, but it's still almost half a mile away. And when you're tired after almost running 26 miles, almost half a mile could really feel like forever. And so instead, I kept my eyes on the spectators. I enjoyed the experience, you know, and I think that's part of the deal. I had my name on the shirt, so they're all yelling, Fitz, Fitz, Fitz. And I sucked it all in, and I just enjoyed the process. And then boom, I had to hurry up and throw my arms up into the air because I was at the finish line. And so whatever you're doing, you know, be in the moment. And I work these major events, and these poor race directors, they killed themselves all year to put together this massive running event with so many moving parts and so many people and thousands of volunteers. And then sometimes at the end, they'll say, whew, I'm glad that's over. And I think, oh, no, it's not about being over. It's about having had the opportunity, had the experience, you know, let's bask in all the wonderful memories as opposed to be like, oh, I'm finally done. So yeah, look around you, take your eye off the finish line sometimes, and just enjoy being where you are. Enjoy making those phone calls, sending those emails, enjoy the spirit and the fun of negotiations, enjoy running the errands and building the set or building the house, whatever it is. Enjoy the process, because we don't get these opportunities back.
Absolutely. And one of the things you touched on there, because we talk about, enjoying the process, do what you love, you never work a day in your life. We talk about those cliches all the time. But what I'm starting to talk a little bit more about is this autopilot process that humans tend to go into, right? And it's not a good thing. So in your daily life, if you're in business and in health, both functions, try to really stop. And even the stupid little stuff, when you're brushing your teeth, try to stop and remember, why am I doing this? What's the purpose of why am I taking the time to brush my teeth today? And be grateful for the fact that you get to, that you're, in today's day and age, we really take for granted. I'm a middle-aged man. I still have pretty white teeth, and I'm a boxer, so they're in pretty good shape. I'm missing a few, but 100 years ago, I wouldn't have had that opportunity, right? I wouldn't have had the great teeth at my age. So really take the time and brush your teeth and stop and appreciate it. When you're eating, stop being on autopilot. Really take the time and think about, man, do I really like this food? Take the time, feel it in your mouth. Take all those times, and what I found is that some of my childhood snacks that I thought I loved, I really don't care for them, right? But I do actually enjoy turkey if I stop and don't just plow through it. So being on autopilot when you're checking your checkbook, when you're going through your fitness, when you're talking with your employees, when you're in those daily scrum meetings and those daily stand-up meetings, if you're just on autopilot, you're not going to get the best benefit. So please, folks, when you're out in your daily life and you notice yourself on autopilot and you feel like you're just going through the motions, stop. Recognize what you're doing. Try to appreciate it. Be grateful for what you have. Be happy for what you have. And I think if people just start doing that one thing, stop going on autopilot, they'll see dramatic changes in their life almost instantly.
I agree. And stop looking at your phone while you're with your friends and family or colleagues. Stop looking at your phone. Be present. You never know when you nod your head yes to something that you're being invited to do that you don't want to do. But I see a lot of people do that, and I just stop talking. I feel like I'm not wasting my breath. If you're not interested, this is not
absolutely.
a conversation.
Me and my wife, we don't get a whole lot of date nights. We both own and operate a couple of different businesses. So when we get a time to actually go to a restaurant, for years we'd both sit there and scroll through our phones, and now we're both phones off, down. This is our time together to get to reconnect and all those things. So I think it's so important of being in the moment and recognizing it and being grateful for it will help you so much in everything that you do, life and business, on a daily basis. And I can't strive, push that point enough. Moving on to our last question for the day, right, before we wrap up the show. And it's been so much fun talking with you that I could probably just do this all day long. But is there one piece of technology that you use in your daily life or in your business that you feel has made a significant impact in life or business?
Yeah, it's got to be this thing right here. And it's the phone, but it's also the TV and the radio and the pedometer and a heart rate monitor and a GPS. We don't have to look at a map anymore. It is everything. And kudos to the geniuses who came up with this thing. I remember in college, I was at a bar, Fat Tuesdays, and and I went to the University of Florida. So we went to bars. We were very fun people. And I met these guys, and I guess I wasn't really interested in them, but they were nice. And one of them said, one day, think about it. You're going to be able to basically think something, and someone across the world is going to be able to receive it. And I just thought, you guys are nuts. What weirdos. My girlfriends and I left mocking these guys as we walked down the street. And I'm sure those dudes are billionaires right now. So it's pretty spectacular. The fact that I can connect face to face with you and friends in Australia and Ireland, and I'm very grateful for this technology. And it's certainly not my forte, but I'm the lucky recipient of it. Those people creating this phone did not have their faces in phones all day. They were busy programming and designing. So innovation at its finest.
Absolutely. And I think the point that you're talking about is we call it a phone today, but it is so much more. It's basically a mobile computer at this point, right?
That's it. It's like the super mega power computer, all encompassing.
With the advent or the cloud applications coming along where they're at, it's really like a pocket data center, like a pocket mainframe, right? So you have everything that you need instantly.
High definition camera.
Right.
microphone, recording device. It's your Walkman and your DVD set and your
Absolutely.
your,
It's so
your
many things
refrigerator.
that they've.
It's your lean mean grilling machine. It does it all.
Absolutely. So fantastic. Do you have anything that you would like to give an offer to the client, to their listeners in today's episode? I think you got an offer for the book.
I do. So if anyone wants to get a copy of my Noisy Cancer Comeback, it's a lot of fun. You will laugh a lot. You will be able to laugh at me, which is what I prefer. Go to Fitzness.com, use the discount code CLICKS and BRICKS, that's with the ampersand, and you can get free shipping. It's hardcover, paperback. I also have audiobooks and ebooks available, but I would love to send you a signed copy with your gift with purchase, and then all sorts of free information at Fitzness.com and Fitzness on social media. So don't just follow, reach out, say hi. I heard you on Clicks and Bricks. I'd much prefer friends than followers.
Fantastic. And I'm definitely going to get a copy. I'm an audiobook guy, so we'll probably buy a hard copy just to have it. And then I will definitely listen to it on audiobook for sure. Thank you so much for joining us today. I had a blast. And until next time, I'm sure that we'll talk again. Thank you for joining us today. I very much appreciate it. That's it for today's show, folks. Again, if you'd like to join my text line community, my number is 314-370-2871. You can ask me anything about business or technology, and I will do my best to answer that question at no charge at all. Just my total unbiased opinions. I will kick it back to you generally within a day or two. Outside of that, I'll never try to sell you anything on that text line. I will only send you tips and tricks, and every now and then some crypto news. That's it for today. Get to work.